Jess.fm. Voice only. Ride along.
Okay, so we're going to do an in-the-car reaction to the Lil Wayne album because I want to be fair. I really want to be fair. The reason being is because I, like many people born in the late 80s, we all have been there for Wayne's full career. For his full career, since him coining the term bling bling, since Hot Boys, since anything Cash Money, before there was a Young Money. We've been there. We were especially there for the Carter album. This came at a very pivotal point in a lot of our lives, those who were in my age group. Many of us were new college students, you know, and get this, some of this probably doesn't matter. The fact of the matter is this man was cemented in our psyche as a top rapper for a very long time. And so now we get this album, and I'm simply disturbed by the feedback that I'm seeing on social media sites. I am disturbed by it because it's nothing like I've ever seen before in the mentioning of Wayne's name. Like, I've never seen such a disdain for a project that he ever dropped, ever. And look, I was around even when Wayne started doing different genres, which I can appreciate. And if y'all remember, he put out I Am Human, and it was like fully rock, and there was a little pushback back then, but the bulk of us who knew what was happening were like, no, we like this. And I will still go back and listen to probably all of his albums, and I need to. I have to. And that's what prompted me to start this recording, because I have to understand sonically what drew me to Wayne other than the nostalgia, right? Like, if I wanted to be unbiased, what drew me to his music? Because I'm going to be honest with y'all, and I'm being extremely transparent. I listened to portions of the first 3 to 4 tracks, and y'all, I am not happy. And I want to make sure I'm being fair. I really do. But I'm not happy. I'm not happy with it, y'all. Like, I don't quite know what's going on, but I'm not happy, or at least I don't think I'm happy, which is again why I'm like, I have to go listen to some old albums, because maybe on his old albums the first 3 tracks wasn't hitting either. I don't know, you know, because back in the day with music albums, artists were very intentional with sequencing. And unlike current music, what I do know is back then, especially when Wayne was dropping more heavy than he is now, right? But when he was dropping, that was an era of time where sequencing was extremely important, and artists wanted their listeners to stay engaged for the full album. So they're not going to load the best songs in tracks 1 through 3. So that I understand there's a science to sequencing, and in my view, I really hope that that's what's going on here, because the first 3-4 songs of a series album cut, by the way, Carter 6, for heaven's sakes, like, we've had so many Carters. I'm gonna be honest, I thought Carter 5 was gonna be the end of that series. I'm really like shocked that there's a 6. If you listen to Carter 5, especially the last track, It'll All Work Out, that sounds like a perfect conclusion to the Carter series. And that whatever Wayne wanted to do next, he could just kind of do. But then he brought this, and I don't know how to feel about it, y'all. I feel so indifferent that I say, you know what, let me try to put my objective ears on instead of my nostalgic ears, and definitely instead of, you know, the bias that maybe has been injected just by me seeing a few tweets. Because I have intentionally tried to stay away from the tweets, but let me tell y'all, this album came out Friday. You know, I could do my best over the weekend to stay away from the tweets Saturday and Sunday, but come Monday time, my YouTube algorithm was not going to let me avoid it any longer, because I start seeing reactor videos drop left and right. Okay, I am a music head, so my YouTube algorithm is definitely going to feed me Music Reactors Guild and all of these creators talking about what they heard. And so I'm really like, okay, let me be fair here before I truly assess it. But I will tell you, my initial reaction is indifference. All right, so I am in the middle of a track right now. I'm gonna try to back it up, because I'm gonna be honest, I'm not going back to the other tracks that I heard. I just can't do it. I can't, you know, the intro track, okay, great. Like, I don't know what it was. There's been some theories that I've seen that I can kind of logically get with, but I don't know. So I will hold those for the end. But I listened to, and y'all, let me just give you a little bit more about why I'm indifferent. Because, and like, when I tell you I'm a music head, I'm a music head. I listened to track 1. It's an intro track. I don't expect a lot from intros, but I'm highly impressed when an intro bangs, and that one didn't bang. I'm sorry. I'm just going to be honest. It didn't bang. But because it's an intro, I'm not going to put a ding against it. The second song, was it the second or the third? The second or the third song with the LL Cool J sample. When that track came on, from the prior track to that track, Bells, y'all, I had to turn my volume up to hear the music, only to turn my volume way down when he started rapping. I'm like, what is this? Why am I having to turn my music up and turn? What is that? That is an example of what I mean by indifference, guys. Like, I've never experienced that from a Wayne album, and I listen to every Drought mixtape. Okay, if his mixtape quality was better than, and Dedication, by the way, was my top notch, like, y'all. Anyway, if his mixtape series are better than his album series, that is a problem to me. That's just me. A lot of y'all will be like, not that big of a deal, da 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 da. No, it's a big deal to me. Okay, so early song, I know he's going to get credit for the song because of the Rock the Bell sample and him, you know, putting LL homage out there, which I'm going to be honest, no offense, LL don't need a homage from nobody. He's LL. Like, he is still out here doing interviews. I want to say I just saw he released some music the other day. So I know he appreciates the admiration that he gets in the game, LL Cool J. But if you an artist who also is kind of legendary, and you're putting on another legendary, and the legendary that you're putting on kind of don't need it, like, it has to be amazing, or else you might need to put on. When I think about the words put on, I think about someone shining light on something that's not been shown, and that's where it kind of nullifies it for me, because at this point, I just hear you using a sample and then coming out and rapping in the same cadence as LL and you or Wayne, and I don't like that. I don't like it, y'all. I did not like that. I did not like that Bells track. I'm sorry, I did not listen to the whole thing. But this is what I noticed about this one track. I'm going to play a little bit. This is track, I need to see which numbers, y'all. I miss the days of CDs and track numbers. I want to say this is track 4, Hip Hop. And this features Big X the Plug and Jay Jones. So it goes a little bit something like this. I don't know if this will still record. So bear with me. But I'm not going to play the whole song. I'm not trying to get copywritten. And a matter of fact, I better not get copyrighted, but that's a whole other conversation we'll hold to the end. So I just want to make a point. So I'm going to play a little bit of it and then I'm going to pause it. Okay, like I expected, it wouldn't record and me play the music at the same time, but I stopped it, y'all, after the 8th bar from Big X the Plug. Now, I listened to a little bit more of this song, probably than the others, but I'm going to tell you my theory why I can continue to listen to this song. I am from Dallas. Big X the Plug is a big name from Texas, from the DFW Houston area. I don't know exactly where, but we know him, right? And he has a certain ability in his music where he takes really cool soul samples and he layers, his hip hop cadence on top of it. And I love it. Like, I'm gonna be honest, I've not really heard a song of his that I don't like. Because he kind of has this little science and he's sticking to it, right? This song that sits on the Dwayne Carter's album, I don't believe it's Dwayne Carter's song. I believe this is Big X the Plug song that he was so gracious or that Wayne was so gracious to appear on. And then they put this song on Wayne's album. Now, this is good. This is not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. However, I'm used to Wayne who will get in his booth and record a milli. Like, we don't need other people's stuff for Wayne to hop on, and Wayne has proven himself as a feature artist who will get on someone's song and or beat and demolish it, right? But this felt different. This felt like this song was already complete and Wayne heard it and liked it and was like, Big X is a new hot name. Let us figure something out here. And they figured it out and then now it's on the album. I don't like that, y'all, for a legend. I don't like that necessarily for a legend. I like my legends continuing to create or not to create at all. I'm going to just be honest. Like, I love when musicians say, you know what, I've done it all already. If I do the same thing, I'm too repetitive. And if I do something different that's not me, it's disingenuous. Wayne has done infinite genres of music. Okay? He's done so much as acoustic guitar music. Okay? So he is fully capable of creativity. And I'm not going to take people's like, oh, well, he's trying to do something different and you don't want. No, I told you, I've been around the whole. Yes, I've seen it all and I've loved it. It doesn't sit right with me why this isn't hitting right. Now, again, I'm only in the first few tracks. Y'all will have to tell me if later in this album something else comes up. But I'm going to be honest, I do not like what I've heard so far. And I don't want it to be this way, but it is. And I really, 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 really wish he wouldn't have released this album. I wish that he would have just like put a single out like we're used to, and then he kind of gauged the temperature. I think that he's resting too much on his name, and in other circumstances that would be okay. But let me tell you why it's not for his. And this is why I'm finna go on a rant. So bear with me. Bear with me. Okay? We sat and watched Wayne's rise to legendary status in the early 2000s, right? He sat in his legendary status, I want to say, up until the last 2 to 3 years. Something shifted in the rap ecosphere that for some reason no one's talking about, but I will here today. We went from everyone, give me your top 5, Wayne being on everybody's list. And I'm talking about those of us who are walking the earth right now, right? Who can name a top 5. 98% of people asked who their top 5 rappers would be, would list Wayne in that group. Okay? And I'm not saying that has changed, but there's something interesting perceptively that has happened that I don't think people really want to touch. And it's this. Wayne came, I want to say Carter 2, Carter 3. I want to say it was before Carter 3. It might have been around Carter 2, where he started to proclaim, and y'all will remember, he started to complain the best rapper alive since the best rapper retired. When did he do that? He did that after Jay-Z did the Black Album and told us all that he was done with rapping. Okay? We now know in retrospect that he wasn't, but that's what he had told us in that early 2000s era. So, on subsequent music that Wayne made, Wayne would proclaim this nonstop. Best rapper alive since the best rapper retired. And I'm pretty sure that was Carter 2 when that first started, but you all will tell me in the comments if it was some other, time frame. Wayne was hungry for rap. This is when he started doing those mixtape series that I was talking about, and he was landing every single one. So I think, okay? I'm just talking to you from my recollection of where I sat with his music at that point in time. He couldn't miss, okay? Mostly, though, where he really grew this hardcore fan base who probably started putting him on their top 5 list was his mixtape series, because he was able to show us the dynamic versions of himself that he could display on all these different beats and types of beats, from fast hip-hop beats to anthem beats to slow R&B beats and all in between. I think he did some pop beats, so on and so forth. He was rapping on all of them, and it was like a non-stop, no hook, bar type of rap, and I fell in love with it. I'm just gonna, speak for myself. And so, long story short, he maintained this acclaim to where he introduced his own collective of rappers, and there is some big names that to this day are still being spoken from that collective, okay? One of those big names in the last 3 years has started to get into on and again, off again spats with various different other musicians, because this big name is proclaiming himself, just to designate himself, as the best rapper. I was like, wait. How are you the best rapper if who we all believe to be and who has proclaimed to be the best rapper is still rapping? Where did that come from, y'all? And I'm not going to say the individual's name because y'all know who I'm talking about. Put a comment in. You know who I'm talking about. All of a sudden start talking about they're the best rapper when they were signed to the man who claimed he's the best rapper alive since the best rapper retired, and he ain't dead. So I'm confused. When did this happen, and why are we okay with it to where no one's talking about it? Okay? Let's turn up the heat on that, though. Last year, we all watched what happened. We all watched a fundamental shift occur in hip-hop. And we all can agree that there is now possibly one person who folks would name as at the top of rap right now. The one, and then the questionable is the same other that, again, came up under Wayne. And so I'm confused. So long story short is, or I guess my question to the audience, for those of you who are still listening, is, when was there a changing in the guards? And who agreed that Wayne was no longer the best rapper alive since the best rapper retired? Who agreed to that? Now, with this album coming out, we could talk about it. But before this album came out, which was Thursday and beyond, right? Why weren't we still touting this person's name, and instead we arguing over one of his people he signed and somebody else that's from the West Coast? Like, well, how did this happen, y'all? Like, what kind of psyop have we all just kind of played into? And what effect does that have on our perception of this particular album as of now? So I'm going to set that point and let y'all kind of hash it out for me in the comments, because I find it very intriguing and very interesting. I don't want to say it's disrespectful, but I kind of feel a way on the behalf of Wayne that someone who I probably once considered an understudy has simply inserted himself above me. Or get this, maybe what goes around comes around. You know, maybe when Wayne started proclaiming, no, it's not the same. It's not the same. I was going to say maybe when Wayne did start proclaiming best rapper alive is the best rapper retired, maybe Jay-Z felt a way about that. But here's why it's not the same. It's not the same because Wayne wasn't signed to Jay-Z. Wayne had never signed to Jay-Z. And so if Jay-Z wanted to retire and then Wayne wanted to come in and proclaim himself number one, like, oh well. But in this case, there's a level of respect here that I would have thought would be afforded to Wayne from another individual whom which was signed to him. So that's my 2 cents on it. Long story short, just the whole, what are you doing? The whole, like, rollout around this album and the album itself it disappoints me. Like, and here's where I start, like, sharing some of the theories that I heard as I wrap this up, right? Like, some people were saying that this album may have been an attempt at Wayne providing a mashup of sorts of all of the different versions of himself over his career. And why he would be doing that was because he expected that Super Bowl performance. They're saying, or the theory is that let's just go down that butterfly effect. Let's go down the path that Wayne gets selected for Super Bowl as opposed to Kendrick, right? If he were to have been selected, folks are thinking that this kind of piece of work would have compiled, like, I guess what he would have performed, or at best released somewhere around that same Super Bowl rollout time this past February, with all the eyes on him and this, that, and the other. I want to say that makes sense, but here's what I do know. And I ain't even heard the whole album, but I know for fact there's not any music on this album that he would have performed at the Super Bowl over his actual classics and his actual hits. Okay, again, I have not listened to the full album, but in my view, if there were a track that he, or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or however many, that he would have performed at the Super Bowl from this piece of work, we would know that track by now. There would be hashtags, there will be something, there will be a TikTok or something, right? But I haven't seen any of it. Now, it's only Monday. Driving home from work right now, maybe it's gonna be out there. I just haven't seen it. It's the evening time already, okay? Nothing has kind of popped from this album that I've seen so far, and that's not a bad thing. Sometimes things take time for folks to grow, I guess, right? But here's another thing. I really hope that theory is not true. Why? Because look, right? And I don't know who Wayne's team is. I don't know if he has a team. I don't know if he, like, comes up with his own concepts for rollouts and marketing. But why was he complaining about the Super Bowl on the cusp of finna drop this out instead of, like, working this out? Like, why was he not focused on things like how the Bells song had to, you know, the volume of the sample is super low, and then you had to, like, why was that not a focus of his? Shoot, that was the turn I should have been. And I'm just saying that to be facetious a little bit, but a little bit I'm kind of serious about it. Oops. Why is this not tip-top shape when he was just, like, doing all these commercials and all this kind of stuff? Like, this is just not him. And that's why I'm saying, like, I don't know if he's his team. I don't know if he's got a new team. You know, I don't know anything about that aspect of things other than I don't like this album. That's what I know. I don't like it. it feels unfinished. And for him to have put out things that were just kind of haphazard again, oops, I don't know if I'm supposed to do this. I don't see it. I don't see it. I don't get it. I just don't. So I'm going to try to be fair in the name of artistry to give this album a play. But I'm going to be honest. I have a short attention span on some of the topics that I already heard him talking about that maybe I would have been a little bit more susceptible for in my younger years. Like, you talking about the things you're going to do to people if they do this or don't do that, and how gruesome it will be for that individual, how you would do things like pull, your soldiers to take care of things. Like, okay, we've heard that before, okay? You talking about, sexually explicit things that you're going to do to women and, sexually explicit, obviously with consent, all this kind of stuff, to, turn her on, all this kind of stuff. We've heard your versions of that already. I almost feel like, and I could be wrong, I feel like some of the bars that I was hearing I've heard before, but I don't know if that's just Wayne music fatigue or if it truly is true, because we know for a fact, because he's told us. He doesn't recall all of the words to all of the music he's released, and he has thousands of songs he's never released. So how could he really know if he's not repeating bars? Like, would anyone tell him that? I don't know. Would they know? Would he know? So right now I'm like having a really strange effect even listening to it, because I'm like, have I heard him say this before? I don't, So long story short, my overall consensus is, and this is from someone who hasn't listened to all the work, so take it with a grain of salt. My overall consensus is it sounds repetitive, it sounds underproduced, it sounds unfinished, and it sounds like a plea of some sort for some semblance of something that I can't put my finger on. Because you're already supposed to be at the top of the game. So I know you're not pleading for that unless you kind of have to, because you let somebody else from your camp come over here and say he the best now. So are you in competition with him? I don't know. Y'all are going to let me know better than I can tell you in the comments. But that was my carpool rant for today. Take it or leave it. Y'all listen to the album, and please tell me, is there a track that I need to go hear? And if so, tell me what minute bar to skip to. No, I'm gonna listen to the full track. Y'all just tell me what track was your favorite from this album. Let's let the comments be constructive. All right, there's enough already on Twitter talking mess about it. So let's let this comment section be a safe place for constructive criticism. Should Dwayne happen to look at this video and listen to this rant, which at the end of the day, why would he? So I'm gonna let y'all go on that. I appreciate you. Bye.
Thanks for riding with Jess.fm. See you next ride.